Once upon a time, in the city of Benares, there was a king named Brahmadatta. He was a bit greedy, always wanting more riches for himself. To keep track of all his treasures, he had a valuer, someone who would set the right price for things like horses, elephants, jewels, and gold. This valuer was a wise man, and he did his job well. But the king's greed got the better of him. He worried that the valuer would take away all his riches by giving fair prices. So, one day, he decided to find a new valuer. Looking out of his window, he saw a simple, foolish man passing by. This man looked like someone the king could easily control. So, he called him in and asked if he could do the valuing job. The foolish man was excited and said he could do it. Now, he was in charge of setting prices for all the valuable things in the kingdom. The problem was, he didn't really understand the true value of things. He would just make up prices as he pleased. One day, a horse dealer arrived with 500 horses from the north country. The king asked his new valuer to set a price for these horses. The foolish man, not knowing the real worth of the horses, decided that the price for all 500 of them was just one measure of rice. The king was happy because he thought he was getting a great deal. The horse dealer, realizing he was being cheated, went to the previous valuer, the wise one who had been replaced. He asked for advice on what to do. The wise valuer told him to give a bribe to the foolish valuer and ask him a tricky question in front of the king. Following the wise valuer's advice, the horse dealer gave a bribe to the foolish valuer and asked him, if 500 horses are worth a measure of rice, can you tell us the value of that measure of rice? The foolish valuer, feeling confident, said the measure of rice was worth all of Benares and its suburbs, a huge area. The ministers and everyone present burst into laughter. They couldn't believe that the valuer had priced the entire city and its surroundings at just one measure of rice. It was a ridiculous situation. The king, realizing he had been fooled, sent the foolish valuer away and brought back the wise valuer. The wise valuer, in the end, taught everyone a lesson about true value and wisdom. He even composed a little verse to capture the absurdity of the situation. The verse explained how the foolish valuer thought a peck of rice was worth the whole city, and yet, he priced 500 horses at the same peck of rice. The king, embarrassed by the whole affair, admitted his mistake and gave the wise valuer his job back. And so, the Kingdom of Benares continued with fair valuations, and the foolish valuer learned a valuable lesson. As the wise valuer resumed his rightful place, he couldn't help but share a little verse, a poetic summary of the absurdity that had unfolded. Dost ask how much a peck of rice is worth? Why, all Benares, both within and out. Yet, strange to tell, 500 horses too are worth precisely this same peck of rice. The story teaches us about the importance of wisdom and fairness. It shows how greed and foolishness can lead to ridiculous situations. In the end, it's the wise and just who prevail. And that's the tale of the wise valuer who outsmarted the foolish king and his greedy ways.